Hey everyone, how's it going? So we're back with some more Explorer and Pioneer content. So today we are trying out a list which did reasonably well in a recent Pioneer challenge. And it's kind of smashing together Dimir, kind of the Merfolk deck with the Kaito deck and the Demons deck all in a kind of one big messy package. So, kind of, there are merfolk things going on with Mistcloak Herald and Voldalian Hexcatcher and Silvergill Adept, kind of those traditional good merfolk cards. But we're also playing a little bit of a Ninja's tempo game with our Moon Circuit Hacker, which combines pretty well with our 1/1 unblockables, and then Kaito as well as our Planeswalker of choice. And then we also have Unholy Annex and Ritual Chamber just to give us that extra card advantage. Usually in a deck like this, kind of it's going so quickly that the kind of 2 life that you're losing every turn to draw an additional card usually won't matter. But if it does, we do have obviously the option later in the game to unlock the Ritual Chamber or convert our Mutavault into a demon. So there are ways of kind of getting around that life loss clause. So yeah, just quickly running through the cards. We've got Mockingbird. It's just a great way of copying lots of good creatures. Silvergill Adept, drawing us a card. Voldalian Hexcatcher, growing all of our Merfolk. Floodpits Drowner. It can just be whatever we need in that particular time, providing we already have a copy of it. Mistcloak Herald is one of the cards which really helps the deck function. Unblockable creature is good by itself, but kind of allows us to do all of the things around Moon Circuit Hacker, Kaito to ninjutsu that into play. So because it can't be blocked, so it's particularly good at that particular part of the deck strategy. Fatal Push, obviously great removal spell. We've seen this many, many times. So in terms of our 2 drops, as well as our kind of traditional Merfolk, so Hexcatcher, Great Merfolk Lord, comes in at instant speed, can then disrupt the opponent's non-creature spells. Floodpits Drowner is a more recent addition to the format, but just a great tempo card. Comes in at instant speed, has vigilance, stuns an opponent's creature, takes it out of action, and then if it's a really problematic creature, you can just shuffle it and Floodpits Drowner back into their owner's libraries. Moon Circuit Hacker is our great ninjutsu card, ninjutsu for a single blue, and then when you do that, it hits when it hits the opponent, you draw a card if it entered the battlefield this turn. Silvergill Adept, again a good card advantage spell that we'll often be able to cast for just 2 mana. Kaito, so this is the great Dimir Planeswalker that's kind of been showing up in quite a few different decks. So it has ninjutsu for 1 blue and a black, so it comes down as early as turn 3. And during your turn, it's a 3/4 with hexproof, and then its abilities allow you to pump all of your ninjas. Less important in a deck like this, which is running that many. 0, Surveil 2, then draw a card for each opponent who lost life this turn. Obviously, this interacts very well with ninjutsuing in Kaito, hitting the opponent, and then immediately drawing a card. And again, doing a -2, playing around with stun counters. And then we have our Unholy Annexes as well. So yeah, it's doing a bit of everything. In terms of our mana base, not surprising that we are running a fair number of dual lands. We got some fetid pools just to make sure we don't overdraw mana, just because this is a deck that's quite low to the ground in terms of its curve. Mutavault, obviously a great creature to turn the land into, because not only is it a merfolk, so it benefits from all our merfolk stuff, it's also a demon, as I mentioned earlier. Some islands, so a fair few number of islands, because this deck is primarily blue, a swamp, and an Otawara as well. In the sideboard, we have Spell Pierce, so some additional counter spells, particularly if we're dealing with kind of mass removal spells. Thoughtseize, obviously great hand disruption. Anoint with Affliction, very, very versatile removal that gets around graveyard effects and things like that. 4 copies of Tishana's Tidebinder. So this is a great merfolk that we can bring in against decks which are running creatures, planeswalkers, and artifacts that have particularly annoying ETB triggers or other triggers. This can shut them down and blank the text on those permanents as long as Tidebinder is around. And Leyline of the Void is our graveyard hate of choice. It's the right colour, can come down at the beginning of the game. Just very, very good. Dodges quite a lot of the removal that gets rid of cheap artifacts and enchantments as well. So, it's all to the good. So yeah, I'll be interested to see how this does. It's a relatively new deck that's kind of broken onto the scene, and we are kind of running through a period of playing a lot of Dimir decks, and I do like Dimir as a colour combination. It's very versatile. Lots of different strategies you can play with Dimir. So yeah, let's go on to the ladder. Thank you very much for watching. As ever, like and subscribe if you haven't already. Appreciate the support. Let's go play some matches. Here, so this feels like a control deck to me, and this is not a good hand to be playing against that. This is slightly better, although still not great. Pop back one of our Mutavolts. Feels aggressive. Little do they know. Okay, well that makes that decision much more reasonable, sadly. I would have liked to get Kaito into play. But instead, we shall simply Mockingbird instead. Okay, let's get Kaito down.
Looks like I gotta fight my way out.
It having hexproof is really quite nice here. Yeah, I'll keep the Boon Circuit Hacker. I think I'll just play out the Mockingbird again. Don't really mind encountering this. Nope, just to deduce. So, it smells heavily like Wandering Emperor here, but that's okay. Because it can't hit Kaito. Yes, 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 yes. Fire up your anchorage, very nice. One dead anchorage. No blocks means Moon Circuit Hacker can come down. Yeah, I don't like just drawing more cards, so we'll fire off Kaito again. Silvergill Adept without another Merfolk is pretty bad, so we'll skip away both of those. Okay, I like Hexcatcher. So let's fire off our Mockingbird once more. Keep Hexcatcher in our hand. And we've basically time walked them here, which is pretty nice. So Supreme Verdict would be a bit of a drag. I would like Moon Circuit Hacker to survive because I want to filter some of these lands that we're flooding out a bit here. I mean, we've drawn 9 lands in our top 16 cards. Opponent's gone in the tank. Yeah, I don't have a huge number of good options here, I don't think. I'm not going to Hexcatcher, I don't think. Ooh. Another hacker is happy days, to be honest. Let's see what they do. No, still nothing. Well, I'm going to ninjutsu again. Gets me 2 extra cards. Thing is, all their sorcery speed. Okay, Hexcatcher. I'm going to sack Hexcatcher straight away and counter the Emperor. Keep my Mutavault alive because that presents lethal with Kaito. Draw. Draw. Okay. Yeah, let's just give ourselves an emblem here, I think. And then play Unholy Annex. It feels pretty lethal, what we're doing here. Yep. Great. So, against a control deck, I obviously like Thought Seize. Spell Pierce is good. Tidebinder is pretty good at blanking their Planeswalkers. So I think I'll put that in. Then I've got 10 cuts to make. Fatal Push. So I can hit Emperor tokens. But I don't think that is enough by itself. Annex is quite easily countered. A couple of Drowners. Well, tell you what, let's trim all the Drowners and we'll keep 2 Annexes. Because if we can get one under a counter spell, then the card advantage is pretty good. Yeah, I quite like this. Turn 1 Mistcloak. Potential turn 2 Silvergill, depending on what the opponent does. Turn 2 Moon Circuit Hacker is actually pretty spicy. Because they can't counter this. Okay, I'm pretty happy for them to use a March on that. Draw myself another card. With Silvergill. Suddenly we've got parity going in terms of cards. Right. Again, I'm kind of fine with that. I mean, I could Spell Pierce it, but I think I'd rather just get the Annex down. Because that's repeatable card advantage. So I could hardcast Hacker here. I could fire up Mutavault and use that. I don't really want to play that into 4 open mana though. So I'm just going to pass and keep drawing cards. Yeah, a lot of Hex Catchers. So they pretty much wasted their mana for a turn here. I'll get 1 Hex Catcher down. Yep. Just play another one. Land's decent. So let's attack. Ninjutsu in a Hacker. Draw a card. Land. Mistcloak Herald. Pass the turn. So we're a little short of blue mana right now. But that's not going to hurt us, I don't think, here. Do have another land to play. So let's bring down Kaito.
Eyes up and stay focused. The housewarming party has arrived.
Draw and discard. Yeah, I don't think I need Silvergill here. Let's emblem with Kaito.
I've trained with the best.
I'll leave the Mistcloak Herald in my hand here, I think. Memory Deluge can be spell pierced. Okay, Kaito's kind of done its work.
There's gotta be another way out.
Ooh, Thoughtseize I like. I'll take a peek in their hand. Do I just want to take Dovin's Veto here? Yeah, that's fine. They don't have the mana to Memory Deluge, so I might just... Yeah, I'm just going to unlock the Ritual Chamber, start hurting them with life loss. Just because, you know, I was down to 10 there, and yeah, they're a control deck, so my life total doesn't really matter. Okay, Divine Smite's a good draw. Don't think it's going to save them here. Nope. Okay, that was a good, clean living with Azorius control. Yeah, this hand's okay. The Silvergills will hopefully get us some card advantage. So looks like something Selesnya from the opponent, so it could be the Collected Company deck that's doing the rounds. Yep, there's an Enduring Innocence. So I'll get down Silvergill. Reveal a Flood Pit's Drowner. Fatal Push would have been good if it had come earlier. So, no... Archon of Emeria, you say? Yeah, fine. So Mutavault coming into play tapped is pretty tragic. I think, yeah, we'll play a Herald. Just hold up Fatal Push. Yeah. Because I don't mind trading Herald for Innocence. Yeah. Take that block. That comes back, but I can then push their Archon, which I shall now do. Sadly did not have the flexibility to play around that with Hexcatcher. I mean, we're not winning this game. They've got 2 Enduring Innocences on the battlefield. Interesting that they've chosen to do that. I quite like it as a tactic. I don't actually like it, but I don't like playing against it. So they're gonna basically sack their... No, they're not gonna sack their bodyguard. Fine. Well, I'll take the damage here. And another Archon. Fine. Tap. Surprised they didn't add mana there. So drawing 2 cards seems fair. Don't remotely approve of this trend of white having all this card draw. Another Archon. Yeah, they don't need that. So none of these line up very well against their Archon. So I think I'll just annex. Got to somehow match them card for card here. And it's not happening without annex. Okay. So we definitely need Anoint with Affliction here. Tidebinder is good at blanking the abilities of Enduring Innocence. Fatal Push good, Anoint good, Flood Pits is okay. What's not so good here? Silvergill Adept feels a little on the slow side and doesn't match up particularly well against many of their creatures. Trim a couple of Mockingbirds as well. If I ever get an Annex and a Demon into play, then that's pretty good times, but that is very mana intensive. Okay, this sounds bad. This sounds slightly better. Back Fetid Pools. It's a little dirtily what we've got going on here. And now the age-old question. Well, as I now have two Anoints with Affliction, I don't mind just killing that. Slows them down just a little. Yep, good. They didn't get to do anything that turn. I think I'm fine just playing Flood Pits Drowner here. Even Interrupter. Whatever. By itself doesn't interest me that much. So they've got a collected company. So I might just make a 6/6 here. Just another Interrupter. Fine. Two Interrupters is a bit annoying. Right. I mean, have they still got collected company? I suppose there's only one way to find out. Yeah. Not entirely sure what you're supposed to do against something like this. I mean, there's nothing we can do, really, is there? Well, they've let me do hacker things. Anoint is not really great when they've got... Yeah, let's just make a 6/6. I mean, that's a pretty good wall against everything they're trying to do. Of course it isn't, they have an answer. Yeah, I'm not really sure how we're supposed to beat this, to be honest. Could make another 6/6, that would keep me alive for a turn, but they'll just... Yeah, let's see what they do here. Yeah, that was incredibly painful, that matchup. This is not terrible. Turn 2 Flood Pits into Kaito. It's a pretty good interaction. Don't think I want to play the Mockingbird here. Yeah, opponents on humans. Maybe many colours of humans. Talia's a pretty good answer to that, so I think... And we can't do anything else, which is quite annoying. So we could just copy the Flood Pit's Drowner here. Yeah, Thalia's a really annoying card for them to have played there. So... I think just... locking down both their creatures for a turn is fine. Hexcatcher's not bad. Fortunately, this has no impact on ninjutsu costs.
I learned something that you didn't expect to see me here.
So I could shut down their creatures here, but I think, ooh, Fatal Push is a great draw. Unfortunately, cannot cast it at this point because, again, Thalia is an absolute nightmare here. So Kaito goes down. Now I think there's a question about whether I want to get the Copper Coat or the Thalia. I think I need to kill Copper Coat. Attack with Flood Pits. Ninjutsu in another Moon Circuit Hacker. Draw a card. I've still only got 2 lands, but it's not exactly stopping them from doing everything they want to do. I don't have more cards than them, so I'm not hugely fussed about that. Floodpit's Drowner lock down their Initiate. Another Mutavault. I mean, it's tempting to just make a 6/6 here, because that's a pretty effective wall against anything they can try and do. But that does tap me out. But they are only on 2 land, and they're just playing creatures, so... Sure thing. Let's have a demon and see what you can do about it. Okay, Fervent Champion is not in itself an answer to demon. Nope. Okay, fine. Good. So the opponent's running sort of 5-colour humans, I assume. So Anoint with Affliction is fine here. Tidebinder... I haven't seen like Adeline or anything like that. If they are running Adeline, then Tidebinder's good, but I haven't seen it, so I'm not going to necessarily make it happen. I'm trying a couple of annexes on the draw. Yeah, I think just hoping to kind of outmatch them, out-tempo them with our Merfolk. Annex, no. Removal, I think we can do better. This is better. Put back Island. Say go. Okay, well that's dying. Can't have that hanging around. Okay, Silvergill. Revealing another Silvergill is pretty good here. Yep, land. Love it. And they are short of land again. So, Silvergill revealing Flood Pits. Now let's hold on to a Fatal Push. Robber of the Rich. Okay. Okay. It's all okay. See what they snag here. Mistcloak Herald. Okay. I realise I'm saying okay quite a lot. So, push. Block. Take 1. Seems a reasonable exchange. I do want a little bit more land here. Not the best land, but it is at least one. I think we're in pretty reasonable shape. So I'll block again, take 3. I can play my Mistcloak Herald. I would like to get Kaito down at some point. I think I need a unblockable creature to do that. Okay, so they've got Thalia's Lieutenant. Yeah, they're not giving up easily here. So I think I'd rather Flood Pits. Turn that off. Just take the 3. I do think we've got the potential to get them quite nicely with the Hex Catcher here. I'll attack Ninjutsu in Kaito.
Don't be jealous of my The housewarming party has
I do need to hit another land. Neither of those are the land I need.
Now I know your weakness.
That is. Well, there's a lot happening here. And I don't love most of it. Yeah, that making the other creatures... Yeah, that might be the difference between winning and losing, to be honest. Let's see, so I have to block, take 6. Oh no, that's not tapped. Okay, so I can block and take 6. Go to 1. And then I'm dead to the Mist Cloak. Yeah. I do not love it. I do not love it at all. So... So I think the question is, do I lock that down or do I try and find a better answer? I think the answer is, let's lock that down. Got to attack, because this can't block. And then just play enough creatures to keep us alive. And I think I need to drown one of their fervent champions. Yeah, okay. Because that stops the trigger for the other one. So how does this work? Yeah, I think it can still die, can't it? So I won't do that. I'll just see if I can get some more good cards. Okay, those are both pretty good cards. Yep, pass again. And that's pretty good too. Hex Catcher down. So I'm gonna have to prepare. So I could burn this to keep that tapped down. I could Mockingbird the Flood Pit Drowner and keep it tapped down. That's better, actually, I think. So we'll do one attack. Do some surveilling. Yeah, I'll keep another Mutavault, actually. Then copy Flood Pit Drowner. Do that. So there you go. Okay. Fire up both of our Mutavaults. We'll double block their Initiate, chump their Thalia. Hmm. So, they've still got 2 creatures. I'm still not convinced they don't have an answer to... Okay. Well... Yeah. Let's stun that again.
Don't worry. I've got to take a break, will ya?
Get down another Kaito.
Eyes up and stay. Bet you didn't expect to see me here.
Yeah, another Mockingbird is fine. Now, I could Mockingbird to copy another Drowner. No, I think Mistcloak, Herald, and keeping Mutavault available is fine here. Because we're still outnumbering them 6 creatures to 4. And they're dead to my Mistcloaks next turn. Whew. Okay, that was grindy, but we did win. Very good. I will happily take that over a poke in the eye. That match took some quite intense concentration, but I think it was worth it for a pretty good run for Dimir Merfolk. Yeah, it's a combination of some very powerful cards. I mean, Kaito's great, Hexcatcher's great, Annex is great. Yeah, you kind of just smush them all together, and it makes for a pretty powerful deck. Whether it's as good as the kind of sum of its parts, I'm not sure. But it's interesting, and certainly has performed reasonably well in a couple of challenges, so we'll see if it's got any legs. So yeah, here's the deck list one more time. Let me know what you think in the comments. Thank you very much for watching. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you next time.